Hey, what's up guys? It's Marf and welcome to a very exciting video. Before I get into the pro settings that you can use to get the best lap times possible for the upcoming Asphalt Porsche series, I wanted to mention that that event has been announced and I'm super excited and I'm looking forward to it. Now, if you didn't know, the Asphalt series is coming back and Porsche is actually going to be a big part of the event, which is awesome. And there is going to be $15,000 worth of prizes and $10,000 worth of physical rewards, which is awesome. And the best part about it, in my opinion, is there's going to be a LAN live finals in Barcelona, which is awesome. So hopefully I get to watch that. And yeah, I think that's going to be a really cool time. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is if you click the link in the description down below and enter the code you see on screen right now, you can get some pretty nifty rewards in Asphalt 9. Now, there is a 1,000 limit per platform, so get those rewards as fast as you can. Big thank you to Gameloft for sending me this, and hopefully you guys enjoy those rewards. Again, thank you to Gameloft for sending this. I never thought I would get my own redeem code in a video game. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. Hopefully you guys enjoy those free rewards. And let's get right into the video. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into some of the pro settings that you can use to get the best out of your races. So the first thing here is to switch from touch drive to manual drive, and this is the biggest piece of advice I have for you guys. Now, the reason why manual drive is so important is because it lets you do things that you can't do with touch drive. For example, on screen right now, you're seeing something called a speed trick where I am going on top of a rail on US Midwest, and what this does is it lets me get as much airtime as possible. In Asphalt 9, airtime or airspeed is about 30% faster than your normal top speed. So by staying in the air as long as possible, I get my car at a faster top speed than if I wasn't doing that. And with touch drive, you just basically can't do maneuvers like this, so you need to switch to manual drive. Now, if you are having trouble switching to manual drive, here are a couple of tips. Firstly, you can start with something called hybrid drive, where essentially for very complicated parts of the track, you might want to use touch drive, but for straightaways or long corners, you switch into manual drive to get the feel of the car down so that eventually you can transition into manual drive. But again, I would strongly recommend starting on manual drive as soon as you can so you get used to it as fast as possible. Now, the best thing to get used to manual drive is looking at pro videos on YouTube, going over routes with specific cars and essentially trying to copy them as best as possible. Next, we're going to talk about control schemes. Now, this is really personal preference. However, there is one thing I want to talk about in regards to tilt to steer. Now, with some of the other control methods, you really only have a binary control. Either you're going straight, right, or left, and you don't have a lot of granularity in the control. However, if you use tilt to drive or tilt to steer, you can actually control just exactly how much you want to steer to the right or left, and this lets you be so much more precise with your driving. However, like I said, this is really more personal preference. I've seen so many pro drivers use buttons to steer, for example, so you don't need to use tilt to steer. However, I think it is probably objectively the best steering method just because you have that granular control. For example, with tilt to steer, you can tilt your device 1% to the right and go very slightly to the right, whereas with the other control methods, you have to tap the button really quickly and you might lose a bit more speed because of how much your car turns. Maybe it does more than you want to. The other thing I want to quickly say about tilt to steer is because your device is being controlled by your motion, it actually frees up your thumbs or your other fingers to do things like nitro management and drifting instead of having to use your thumbs for both steering and drifting and nitro. So for some people, it just might feel a bit more natural, thinking of it as a steering wheel, for example, so you hold your phone like you would a steering wheel might help some users get used to manual drive as well. Next, let's talk about camera. Now, this is actually, again, something where personal preference might be more important to you. However, I will say that almost every single pro uses the action camera, and this is because it gives you the widest and highest field of view over your car and the track. And this lets you place your car in very optimal situations. And placing your car is very important because, for example, in the close camera, you might not be able to tell exactly what angle you take a barrel roll ramp. And this is important because you want to take them in the middle section instead of going way too high up or way too low to the ground where you fail the barrel roll. And with the action camera, you actually get to see your car from more above, and this lets you place the car in the most exact and precise direction that you want to. And this also helps you avoid a lot of obstacles because the camera is higher up, and of course that means that you can drive around rough terrain a lot more easily, and it lets you choose your routes easily as well. Again though, this is going to come down to personal preference. When I'm not playing competitively, I tend to use either the close or the steady cam just because I like to feel very immersed when I play Asphalt. So because it's more closer to the car and you feel more action, I think it's a more immersive experience. However, when I am practicing for tournaments or I'm actually playing in the qualifiers, I use action cam so that I can see as much as the track and of my car as possible. Finally, I want to talk about graphics settings. Now, not all devices have this option. However, if you're on Android, Mac, or Windows, you might want to go into your graphics options and turn down some of the settings and enable 60 FPS. Now 60 FPS is just going to make your game feel a lot more smooth, and basically you're seeing double the information because instead of seeing 30 frames per second, you are seeing 60. Now by lowering your graphics settings, you do compromise on the visual fidelity of the game. However, because of that reduced graphical effects, it lets your device run the game at a higher frame rate, which means the game is more responsive. Now again, on iOS, we don't have that option. Hopefully they'll add it in the future, but if you have a newer device, this shouldn't be a problem. For example, my iPhone 12 Pro Max runs the game at 60 FPS for a very long and sustained time, so I wouldn't worry too much about it if you're on a newer iOS device. And if you are on a newer iOS device or a new Android device, you should also be able to turn on the 120 frames per second option if your device supports it, and I highly recommend you do that. So that's going to do it for this quick video going over the Pro settings for Asphalt 9. Again, some of this is down to personal preference, like the control option or the camera angle. However, there are some things that might objectively improve your gameplay, and I would give these different settings a shot just in case it might improve your game and you might not have realized it before. But of course, with all of these types of tips and tricks videos, I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. Maybe I missed something. Maybe you'd like to tell the community about a really cool trick that you can use to get the best times in Asphalt 9. And of course, good luck to everyone participating in the Porsche Asphalt Series 2023. I will see you guys later.